Staying with Turkey now and the agreement between Ankara and Washington to train and arm Syrian rebels. We spoke to Ronald Suny, a political history professor at the University of Michigan, and he spoke about the challenges the U.S. and Turkey face getting involved while Syria is in a civil war. Ron, Turkey has been criticized in the past for not having a larger role in the fight against ISIL. So what does this level of participation say about Turkey right now, especially since it has also been accused of allowing passage to those wanting to fight for ISIL?
This is actually a good sign because Turkey is obviously intimately involved in the problems in this area. It has something like a 750-mile frontier with these troubled zones, even more if you count Iraq as well. This is obviously on their doorstep. Now, they've been reluctant to engage because of the complexities of the Kurdish question. They are pretty friendly with the KRG, the Kurdish regional government in Iraq, but of course they have problems with their own Kurdish population in eastern Anatolia, that is within Turkey, and the PKK, which is in some ways the leaders of those Turkish Kurds. And then they have problems with the PKK's allies, Kurds in Syria, the ones who recently were involved along with Kurds from Iraq in the taking of the recovery of Kobani. So you see how complicated the whole thing is. But now the Turks have agreed to work with the Americans against ISIL. This is basically a forward move.
Well, let's add to this complication. What are the political implications with a joint program? You know, these fighters will be trained to fight ISIL, but also the Syrian government. Does this complicate things even more and draw the United States perhaps in a war with Syria?
The United States under the Obama administration would love to get out of the Middle East as much as possible. We are continually dragged back in because, of course, under the Bush administration, George W. Bush, we ourselves initiated the war in Iraq, and now we're reaping the consequences. Of course, if we train these Syrian rebels, these are so-called moderates, they will be fighting ISIL, but of course the Turks are also interested in having us fight Assad. This is a difficult question because the two major forces in the area are those who support Assad and ISIL. And so we're now caught in a kind of two-front war here. It's very complicated, but the Turks are sort of making us also fulfill our own statements, which were that we will fight Assad as well.
What's to stop another group emerging from it, like ISIL, or a situation that we see in Afghanistan with insider or so-called green-on-blue attacks?
Everything is unpredictable in this part of the world. It's very complicated, as we've now indicated. But people are trying to estimate in this triangular or even four-sided wars that's developing in the area, who can we side with? Who is the major enemy? There's a nice Turkish saying, which we also have in English, "Dumanimin dumanen dostumdur." That is, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So Americans might objectively be siding with Assad in order to get rid of ISIL, which is the major enemy. The Turks may be effectively fighting ISIL because they see Assad as the major enemy. But for the moment, at least, the two sides, the Americans and the Turks at least, are working together to train the moderate Syrian rebels, presumably against both ISIL and Assad.